When should somebody go bankrupt?
Whenever they want. You know, there's no magic time to go bankrupt. That question comes to me so often, and I say, you can go bankrupt tomorrow. You can go bankrupt when this creditor or these creditors have judgment against you. You can do it whenever you like. The answer is you can do it when you've got enough money to pay the trustee, and you can pay the trustee over 9 months or 21 months, depending on your income. So there is no ideal date to go bankrupt.
Sometimes you can pay the trustee with your income tax refund.
Yeah, you can. If you've got a good trustee who will allow that, yeah. I mean, they treat it as I love the word, a contribution. So good of you to contribute.
And
so
their fees come out of the contribution first.
Yeah, exactly. And as it should be. I mean, they're not overpaid, really. Their work is drudgery, I'd call it. I mean, there's a lot of attention to detail required to be a trustee. It would drive me crazy. And they've got to be pretty precise because they're accounting not only to you, but to your creditors and sort of acting as an interface between this person and that.
Deloitte was not happy at all when they had to pay me back $4,000 because I overpaid them.
Oh, darn. Well,
They didn't spot it either in their accounting, so I had to call it to their attention.
Would it be fair to say you had fun?
It would be fair to say I planned it. Anyway, making a long story short, we had fun with all that stuff. When should they go bankrupt? Is sooner rather than later a good statement?
Yes. And the reason for that is your credit rating, if nothing else. Because the sooner you go bankrupt, the R9 is the worst credit rating you can get. R, I just understand, means revolving. Is that
revolving
correct?
credit, yeah.
So, if you go bankrupt with a good credit rating, and amazingly that happens a lot, because somebody's lost their job, they come in and they say, when should I go bankrupt? At the moment I'm current, I say, go and do it now, because the sooner you get discharged, the sooner the 6 years it takes for you to rebuild your credit starts. So, sooner the better. If it's going to ultimately be a bankruptcy, why put up with the phone calls and the grief and the hate letters, and why not have the protection immediately? So that's my view.
Okay. How do you rebuild your credit?
Sorry.
Here, do you want to grab one of those?
Yeah.
We'll give you a fisherman's friend whether you want one or not.
Thank you.
They have an amazing soothing deal on your throat.
They do.
And
Thank you.
how do you rebuild your credit, Cheryl?
It depends on what the situation is. If you've gone bankrupt, of course, you're going to be rebuilding it after bankruptcy, a small credit card at a time, regular payments. Sorry. Waiting the 6 years. It depends on what you're wanting to do with your credit.
But I see people go bankrupt who 6 months after the bankruptcy are flying high again.
If I can interject briefly.
Okay.
How you rebuild your credit is right after your discharge, you prepay with a prepaid credit card.
Yeah.
And you cycle that card, as Cheryl said. And then you've got this R9 here, and you're starting to lap little bits of good over the bad. And after, I had a banker tell me this, the bank will remain nameless, that after 2.5 years post-discharge, we'll give you a mortgage, if you've got the rest of the nuts and bolts. So start with those credit cards and go from there.
Well, that's what amazed me. I could not understand, because as you know, in my bankruptcy, I ended up back after. Then we went to a divorce, and then I ended up getting my house back, type of thing. Couldn't get a mortgage, but we'll come back and we'll talk about that in a second. We'll let Cheryl have a little cough. And let's take a break for just a couple of minutes. Take a real break with us. Deal and so on. Let Cheryl get over her cough.
Me too.
You too?